Welcome back to the CA Short Company All In Employee Podcast, where we're all in and give generously. We're so glad that you're here. I'm your host, Cheri Lucas, and today, coming back to be with us again as co-host is Ashlee Green, our Director of Sales for CA Short Company. And today we have a very special guest. And I just want to say right now that I have her bio, and I could do this really great formal intro, but she and I have known each other for quite some time. We actually have worked together, and I worked for her actually for a little while, and we are just great friends and have been through a lot of life together, a lot of relationships, a lot of things. So I'm really excited today to introduce Amber Gray. She's the founder and the CEO of Trusty Oak, which is in the virtual assistant industry. And her company specializes in sourcing, vetting, and supporting the most qualified freelance VAs across the United States. Now, there's so much more to say about her, and one that I definitely want to just say out loud to everyone because I'm so proud of her. But in 2021, Amber was Austin, Texas Businesswoman of the Year. I have chills when I say it. I'm so excited about that. I'm so proud, and it is so well deserved. And you will begin to understand that as we have conversation with her today. So Amber, why don't you say hello to our viewers?
Well, thank you so much, Cheri. It's really a pleasure to be working with you in a new capacity this way. And like you said, we have a lot of history together, and just have enjoyed following each other's journey, I think, and being a support to each other. But I'm really pleased to be here and to share ways that I've been in working with my team. I've got a little bit of a unique team structure in that we've got we'll call it a corporate team. We call it the success team, but it's kind of like the internal team. And then we have around 65 US-based freelance virtual assistants that are part of our community as well. So the way we work with those groups of people are a little bit different, but lots of experience to share on that front.
Well, okay. So Ashlee, I was getting her kind of up to speed on who you are and about your company. And so I know she already had some questions. And so Ashlee, you want to throw out one of your questions to get us started?
Sure. It was very interesting reading about your company and about, really what you do service, right, in the virtual assistant space. And it's just so unique that it is, really at a stage of a lot of levels, right, in how you support. But one thing is, one of the things I was kind of really wondering about is how many clients do you really service today? How do you really bridge that, combining or, finding a space for, your workers, your freelance connections to make that connection with a customer? Because getting to know, I would think getting to know the person you are servicing, right, your customer, that's got to take a little bit of tweaking and molding and shaping to make sure you have the right fit in that space.
Yes, it does. And we're currently serving around 150 clients, I believe. So volume and, the number of VAs we have, the number of clients we have, just exponentially, the number of relationships that we are supporting, continues to grow, and it can be challenging. But like you said, what is important is really getting to know people on a personal level enough to be able to understand their needs and be able to make those matches together. So I'll start with just explaining on the VA side of things. Because, that's where it starts for us, is really supporting the virtual assistant community, because I believe that when our employees and workers are happy, then the people they're serving really benefit from that. And so giving them what they need and the support they need comes first and foremost for us. So when we're sourcing virtual assistants, right now we're actually not doing recruiting. We're not even posting jobs on Indeed and LinkedIn and places like that. A lot of our growth has come by word of mouth referrals and, Google juice, I guess, people finding us online. But we've got a whole website dedicated to the virtual assistant, explaining how we serve them. And we start with a discovery call where we've got someone on our team that casually answers all of their questions about how we serve them. It's not an application. It is, hey, let's see if this is a good fit for you, because it may or may not be. And so we start out on the foot of, we're here to serve. We may not be able to serve you, and we need to make sure that, you agree and we agree that this is going to be a good fit before you even apply for a job with us. So we kind of set that tone with that. And then our interview process involves interviewing around our core values. So again, we're really getting to know people, not just about their work experience and their resume. It's really more about how do we align on the way we think and approach work and communicate. And so we do that first. And then there is even a more internal process where we're getting to know them through some casual things like a virtual coffee with me once a month. We have a quarterly town hall where people get together. But more importantly, our CSM, Cheri, sets up one-to-ones with each of these new VAs when they come on to find out what are their goals, what kind of clients do they love working, what kind of work do they not want to do, all of that stuff, so that we have a good profile around what they want. And then on the other side of that, we're doing a similar process with our clients, in that we want to make sure it's actually going to be a good fit, because not everyone, or not a VA is not always the right solution for certain administrative needs. So we do a little bit of vetting on that side of things, and then we are really coaching them and walking through the process of how to work with the VA before we even match them with someone. So lots of conversation around what do they need, what do they think they need, what do we actually need, and how is that solution going to come together with the virtual assistant. So it's in depth, and something we don't want to automate, because we want this to be a transformational experience, not just a transactional experience. And so we spend a lot of time on that front end of things, of just really getting to know people.
I can testify to that. Now, how many years has it been? 8 years?
8 years, yeah. August 2015.
Yeah, and so I really did get to meet Amber right as she was starting, and I worked with her at that time. And I can testify that even back 8 years ago, and listen, she's torpedoed forward over these 8 years, but still, and from the very beginning, she has established just these great foundational principles in the way she's doing business. And I was part of that. And if anyone knows me, they know I'm not an administrative assistant. I have an administrative assistant because I can do it, but it just sucks the life out of me, right? I want to, so that's not what I want to spend all my time doing. And so Amber did such a great job of recognizing that, she niched me in to, I had one task, and I was kind of looking for a side job, so she niched me into one task to deal with a specific demographic of clientele that she has. And it was really something that really interested me and that I got to learn and grow in. And then it was able to help her out and take some things off of her plate to free up her more administrative types to do those other administrative things. And it's actually the task that she had me doing, has served me all these years in all my, without having my toe in the sales pool and then the marketing pool and in the influencer pool and podcast host pool. It has really been beneficial and foundational for me to have gleaned the information I did in doing that particular task. So they do it really well. So number one, they do a lot of listening, active listening, to really hear from both sides, the VA and from their clients. And then they do a lot of coaching both ways, and just have a lot of communications, which Ashlee and I have a lot of conversations about communication and how important that is for everything. Mm-hmm. So that has served you well, Amber, and it has certainly catapulted you into just a great success story. I'm so excited about it. And I want you to tell everybody, you work with a lot of entrepreneurs and small businesses, but you do work with a C-suite type executives as well, right?
Yes, we don't have as many of clients in that space, only because our business has grown by referrals. And so if we're serving those solopreneurs, they're usually referring more of people just like them. We're perfectly capable of serving those C-suite level. Like, for example, there's a nonprofit that we work with that has a C-suite of people that are traveling frequently, that are managing like crazy calendars, the Tetris schedule problem that people are trying to solve. So our VAs are able to help some of their executives with those administrative things. It's not a lot of tasks, but it is high volume when it comes to somebody that's busy like that. So it really can make a difference. So they're not having to switch tasks so often, and they can really focus on what they do best. So yeah, we can work with anyone from a single person with no employees and no contractors, all the way up to really anyone else that is high achieving, busy, needing to really focus on the important stuff and not get bogged down in the admin.
I'm having there's so many things that I want to be able to talk to you about today, and we're not going to have time for it all. And now that I started saying that, it's like it's totally all of it. Every question is almost flown out of my head. So annoying.
It happens.
I know, right? It does. I'd like you to go ahead and just tell us about your very impressive employee engagement strategy. You are really a master at valuing. You've already mentioned that you value your VAs, and then they in turn, they value and take care of your clients, which is, I think all of us on this call agree that that's the way it should happen. So what is your strategy for really engaging your VAs and letting them know how valued they are and helping them to feel ownership and to be, really productive with you?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's definitely not one single thing that is making it happen. It's a lot of work, especially with a virtual community, and even another level of difficulty because these VAs are working fractional part-time schedules. So it's very difficult for us to, for example, get an all-hands meeting on the calendar where everyone is actually there. I don't know that that's happened in years and years because, we've got so many people. And again, some people might be working only 5 hours a week. So it's tough to do that. So we've had to get creative in how we do engage our team and facilitate connection. And I'll be honest with you, right now, I'm refreshing that a little bit and trying to find ways to make that better than it already is. But some of the things that we do are, I mentioned core values earlier, and that's a big part of it, and recognizing people when they are demonstrating our core values and, giving shout outs. We use Slack for our virtual office. We call it the Treehouse. That's our nickname for the office. So it's like, hey, welcome to the Treehouse, and we're having new VAs that are coming on, introduce themselves, and you see, messages flying back and forth from other VAs in the community. We celebrate birthdays. Some of the basic stuff of just like, it's nice to know that your employer knows when your birthday is and, cares enough to at least say happy birthday and, hey, I see your out of office is on, so you'll get all these messages when you're back and, that kind of thing. So we do some of those little things. We've done games. Again, it's challenging with the virtual world. And before the pandemic, I felt like it was a lot easier to get people excited about a virtual happy hour or something like that. But now everyone's all, maxed out on that. And like, that's not fun anymore. So it's been tricky in that sense. But we do things like drawings for, if someone is demonstrating core values or other initiatives that we might have, we'll do a giveaway for, like a nice headset or, some other kind of little thing just to give back in some way and get that engagement going. So I'm open to ideas. I love this topic because I want my team to really feel valued and connected to each other. And it is challenging, especially in the remote world.
We agree with you because, that's what we specialize in, that's the employee engagement. And it's always a challenge, but we love that. That's one of our favorite things is we have a lot of clients, and we have just kind of naturally and organically fallen into custom solutions. It'd be nice for us to have, kind of some basic structured this, and this you can choose from. But we tend to always find those who are looking for creativity. And you're right. You always have to be refreshing it. Nothing lasts forever as far as motivating and incentivizing, right? And so you're always getting to be creative, and we are blessed with a lot of really creative people. So we will definitely have some of those kind of conversations with you just to give you ideas, because
Awesome.
I think you can give us ideas though too. Just for my time that I spent with you in that space, you did such a fantastic job of trying to be present with each individual as well as in the group settings as much as you could. And I know that you've traveled to do that as well, to be where your VAs are.
Yeah, I don't have the opportunity to do that as much these days, just because everyone is so spread out. The last count, I think there were 26 different states represented, across our team. But at one point we had this little hub of VAs in Boise. And so I went up to Boise a couple times, realized I really loved it. So I bought an investment property there. So when I go visit, I can actually have a place to stay. And so I've had a chance to, be in real life, give hugs and meet families and things like that. And that really lights me up. Like, that's the stuff I love. And I wish that it was easier to do that more. But now that the COVID cloud has lifted in terms of the travel restrictions and all of that, I've been daydreaming about like doing a tour of sorts where I could go visit clients and VAs and maybe host events and things like that, because there's still nothing that beats FaceTime. And we do bring our success team together, so the employees, since that's a smaller group, and some of them are in Austin already, so we can afford to bring everyone together for retreats and things like that. And we did a big birthday bash pool party last year. So every now and then we'll be able to pull something off where we can get people together and actually give some hugs.
I'm with you on that. You know that. So we're a good hugging team. Ashlee, I want to give you a chance to ask any other questions that you might have.
Oh, there's so many. I mean, it's so interesting of the type of business that you run, and really that support for others. So I'm going to probably go back into more of the, some of the simple questions, I would say, from what I'm reading online and understanding about your business. But would you say that the majority of your clients, I see where the plans or the prescription plans or subscription plans, start at 20 hours per month, and then they can go, 20, 30, 40, even 60 hours. Do you find that there are, clients that tend to lead or lend to like one versus the other, or is it just really just dependent upon their, like really what their needs are, or maybe it starts at a lower amount and tends to grow over time? What does that look like for you guys?
Yeah, that's so I know that our average hours per company is around 21, 22 hours. It fluctuates from month to month. So that means, a good portion of our folks are on that 20-hour per month plan. It is something that's variable, and we don't have contracts for our services, so that you can come in at, 20 or 40, but then maybe they come in at 40 and you get really efficient and you actually can downgrade to continue running at that capacity. So it varies. We have some clients that started with one VA 2 years ago, and now they're working with 3 VAs because as they recognize new needs, they can add another person, they can upgrade their hours. And those plans that are on the website are kind of the cookie cutter basic ones, but we'll customize anything to fit somebody's needs. I know we've got people that are on, 30 hour or, like the in-betweens, like 25 hours, and even someone that's on 160 hours a month. So it just, it's going to vary depending on their needs, but that's our goal, is to really meet people where they are and to be flexible with the way business gives us that roller coaster ride.
That is very cool. And I even see that, there's a lot of services, right, that you guys provide, not only just, things like administrative support and bookkeeping and things like that, but it seems like there's an array of services that you provide. And maybe that's where it comes into play. You have more virtual assistants, right, to maybe a client versus just one-on-one. But can you talk about maybe some of those other services that you guys do provide, or, really maybe what's the the probably the most popular of the services that are used.
Yeah, inbox and calendar management are two of the biggest ones on the administrative side of things, because we spend so much time just managing our inbox. People asking for, a coffee meetup or this, or I mean, there's all kinds of meeting requests coming through. And even if you have someone just handling that for you, it can be really a big relief. So that one is very popular for sure. And then on marketing, I would say social media content and blogging, email marketing, some of those things. Those are all great tasks for VAs. Updating your website. I mean, I can't even begin to rattle off all the different tasks that we're able to do. But one of the things I can say is that we're matching you with a dedicated person. If you're a client of ours, you're getting matched with a dedicated person that has the skill set you're looking for the bulk of your needs. But if, let's say, you've got a strong admin managing your inbox and your calendar, and they're handling invoices and onboarding your clients and updating your CRM, but then you realize, you know what, I'm going to start speaking, and I need a speaker's kit designed, and they don't have design skills, all they have to do is hop on Slack and say, hey team, I've got a client that needs help with designing a speaking media kit. Who's available to help? And there'll be several people responding saying, I can help with that. Oh, I love design. I love doing that. And so they just loop that person in. It doesn't cost the client anything extra. It just comes out of their same block of hours. They don't have to worry about interviewing, vetting, hiring, finding this, person for this one-off project. Instead, they've already got access to that. And so they could use them for one time and then go back to just working with their main VA. So it's a lot of flexibility with a team approach, but still getting you that dedicated person that learns and grows with your business.
Very cool. And I think about, I know you were talking about, you really have everything, really is building off of referrals, right? And it's going to be those one-off, smaller businesses. But, I think of, just in general, like realtors. I mean, thinking about, just those other, just different businesses that are more, in the space where it would be, you just need that extra support, but you don't really want to staff, or you don't want to, go down that road. But it is so awesome that, that this exists. I mean, until Cheri had shared with me, your bio and your really your website and all the details that it provides. I mean, it just, it's things you might dream about or think about, but then, you just never know that it's ever really a reality. And so it's such a great service that I, see that it's provide, the ability that is there, right, is just so interesting.
Thank you.
It's very, very cool.
Yeah, and I can't take credit for inventing it, most definitely. But in fact, I've been noticing coming across more and more companies that started in 2008. So for whatever reason, 2008 was when several other VA companies launched out and are still going strong, because this is something that a lot of business owners don't know about. I think more and more, especially since the pandemic, that this term virtual assistant has become more well known. There's also a little bit of confusion because Alexa and Siri are also virtual assistants, but that's not us. So we have to make sure we're able to differentiate our messaging so people know, hey, we're not that we're the real people virtual assistants. But it's a great solution that hasn't been nearly as well known, but it's definitely growing in popularity, and because it's a more affordable way to get what you need when you need it, and to scale what you need as well.
To ask you this question, why did you decide to have U.S. virtual assistants versus global?
Yeah, great question, because there are a lot of people finding success with overseas VAs, and I believe they serve a great purpose. They're certainly an affordable option for people to work with. But I personally want to create jobs in the United States. I want people to have options to work from home. There are a lot of moms that are working for us, dads too, but people that I like to say first things first. They're keeping first things first, and that means that they need more time with their families. That might mean that they need to be able to take a break at 2 p.m. to go pick up their kid from school, or, some other thing like that. And so having that flexibility is putting more women back in the workforce, and that's exciting for me. And a lot of our clients also really appreciate having the chance to work with the U.S.-based VA. They don't have to explain cultural norms and things. And I say that a little hesitantly, because I know like a lot of Filipino VAs they have American accents. They have a pretty good understanding of how things go. So it's definitely not a bad option to explore. But there are going to be some little nuanced differences. And for me, it's about keeping jobs here in the U.S. So.
Well, we love that. Thank you for that. And yeah, and again, it gives you more opportunity to be more hands-on with them. So I love that about that's just who you are. So you're very connected and connecting, a connector. So it's really beautiful thing. But you have quite an impressive and varied background, and really had nothing to do with administrative assistance. So how'd this happen?
Yeah. I was actually just writing some stuff. I'm preparing a presentation and was thinking about this and how I really come from pretty humble beginnings. I did not go to college out of high school, or really in high school. I started working when I was 15, and I worked 2 jobs when I was 18, and I was independent on my own at that time. And really, my circumstances just meant that I didn't get the chance to go to college, even though I had great scores in high school, and it was something I even wanted, but I had to work in order to make things work. And so that's what I did. And I worked as a pharmacy technician for 11 years, and usually had a second job, waiting tables, working at Pizza Hut, something like that to also, to keep it going, because one job wasn't enough for one person. So I did that for a long time. And a friend of mine that was doing web design one day said, I think that your skills could transfer well to project management. And she was just kind of casually encouraging me. But sometimes I latch on to things that people tell me that's like pushing me to do something new. And I went to Half Price Books, and I bought a book on WordPress and another book on project management for websites. And I read them. They were like textbooks, but I read them cover to cover and highlighted and did all this stuff. I was like, yes, I can do this. I think this is something I would enjoy. And she offered me $300 per website to keep her on track. She was a designer, developer, super smart person, but also that creative type that just sort of lost sight of some of the details. And so I came in to help her with that. And fortunately, the company that we were working for was growing rapidly, and Rusty Shelton, the founder of this marketing agency, hired both of us as employees just a few months into it. And I just soaked up everything I could from Rusty. I feel like I consider him my number one mentor in business, because he gave me such a chance without that background, and to be able to go in and learn from him. I mean, I was reading his emails and typing up, okay, this is how we talk to clients, and okay, I'm copying what he says, and I'm going to use that style, and I hear him on the phone. So I was nervous, and I did it anyway, and I learned as I went, and I ended up growing with the company over a 5-year period, and left there as the VP of operations. And then he was able to sell the company just a month or 2 after that. So really amazing experience for me that gave me the courage to launch into Trusty Oak. But I left there, and Rusty was my first client, which is what Cheri was helping with, was brand audits that we were doing for his company. So it was really kind of a weird thing to say, hey, boss, I'm quitting. But also, I'd still like to work with you. And, it was just kind of a funny little arrangement, but he had a lot of respect for me, and we were able to keep things going. And I still meet up with him and catch up with him about Trusty Oak stuff and ask him questions when I'm in a bind. And really happy to have Rusty as a support system even to this day.
It speaks to your character, Amber, and his being able to make that flip with you and just stay in the same relationship and really continue to work with you. And so it shows that trust and respect. And aren't those the core values of Trusty Oak? Is it trust and respect? What is it?
No. So our core values, I'll recite them all too. There's 5 of them, and they're actually phrases, not just words like that. Okay. So the number 1 is keep growing. The second one is serve leaders to change the world. The third one is communicate with transparency. We've got collaboration always wins, and follow through on every commitment. And so trust is, key to success. I mean, Trusty Oak, the name Trusty Oak came from that aspect, and actually was inspired by a book called The Speed of Trust by Stephen M.R. Covey. So it is critical. Delegation totally fails if there isn't trust in relationships. So that's why that is, we'll say it's more of a pillar of how we actually serve and exist. But it is, it lines up with our values too.
Speaking of delegation, aren't you writing, or have you completed writing a book about delegation? Isn't that what it was?
I'm still working on it. Yeah, I'm working on it. I don't have a release date for that yet, but I'm hoping next year we should have something ready. I'm still deciding whether or not I want to try for the traditional publisher route or self-publish, so that could change the timeline. But the book that I'm working on is really thinking about trust is sort of the big portion of it. It's kind of into 3 sections with explaining how we need and can improve and increase trust in the relationship between a leader and their virtual assistant. And then there's the obvious, like how to figure out like, okay, I have only so much time. What do I do with this time? How can I delegate to make more of it, and that kind of thing? And then the third section is really focused on the mechanics of how to, what software to use, how to communicate your expectations, how to give feedback, a lot of stuff like that. So still piecing it all together. In fact, I have another session that I'm working on this Friday to get some more content out of that. So it's been a long haul project, but really proud to be releasing something pretty soon.
I love that. I'm really excited for you about that. And, I think we can talk a little bit later. I can connect you with somebody who might be able to help you make those decisions about how you're going to publish and those kind of things. So,
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, there's so many things I still want to talk about. And, but you guys, I mean, Ashlee, does she know how to make the dream work or what? And, they always say teamwork makes the dream work. And she not only, had the dream or the vision, but she also created the team that would be the teamwork to make the dream work. And she's making it work for others as well. And I love that. It can, be used on small scale, large scale. There's something, there's a lot of things you've talked about today, Amber, that our company, CA Short, we've been around for almost 86 years, and there's things we can learn from you and ideas that we can get from you. So I'm so proud of you, and I just love recognizing you, and I just encourage you just to keep keeping on, because I know that you have those days you're just like, just like anyone would just want to throw in the towel, and like it's too much, it gets overwhelming, especially because you're always growing, just like that tree. You're always growing, and growth is not always comfortable. And so, but you are, your willingness and your courage to grow and keep going truly helps transform the world. I mention almost every episode the ripple effect, and you just have such a huge ripple effect that is a positive one, that is encouraging and empowering to so many. And so I'm so grateful for that. And I'm so grateful that I have been in your sphere for the time that I have and gotten to see this journey. It's such a privilege and so much fun.
I'm so grateful too. And you're making me feel really good. Thank you for all you've always been such an encouragement to me, like whether it's like a comment on Facebook or wherever it may be. So thank you so much for that. And to the point of like, I'm sure you've had days. Just yesterday, I posted something on social media about this topic of self-confidence and like our self-worth, and just like what I'm learning about myself right now, because I consider myself a high achiever. I have worked my ass off for years at something like I love to work and I'm proud of how hard I work. But at the same time, it can be a little counterproductive to always be chasing that next goal. And, like I'm reading this book called 10X is Easier Than 2X by Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy. And it's one of those books that's changing the way I think, most definitely. And one of the things that I'm learning through that is that when I measure myself against that future goal that I've set for myself, which is a big goal, and it's almost impossible to even imagine it being accomplished, I come up short every single day. And that can be really hard on your mentality whenever you're looking ahead going, I'm still not there. I didn't do what I wanted to do this year. I'm not hitting those goals. And I found myself a few weeks ago, like in this spiral down of like, what am I even doing? Like you go to like the greatest lengths in the questions you ask yourself when you get into the wrong headspace. And I was finding myself there. And now I'm realizing that if I measure myself against how far I've already come, I'm now like totally changing my mindset, because what I've already done has been impossible until it wasn't. And I am really looking back now going, okay, I need to forget or remember to celebrate the wins that I've already had, and to remember how far back I've actually, how far I've come, because that's going to show me that it's possible to do this impossible thing in the future. But measuring myself against that right now is not a good idea. So a little bit of a mindset shift to be able to change the way I'm thinking about my goal setting and my own capabilities, and being comfortable in that phase where I'm in over my head again.
You get to a point where you're comfortable being uncomfortable. Like that's your normal state, and you learn that that's your new comfort level. It's like your baseline rises for what's comfortable for you, right? So we build a foundation, but somehow we get to crank it up, jack it up, so our foundation gets higher and higher.
Exactly.
So isn't that
we
interesting?
We raise our standards, and when we do that, it's harder again, and we're back into learning mode. Like you think about, like, you learn to read, that changed your life forever, and now it's like, well, of course, like I can read. It's an easy thing to do, but at some point that seemed like something that was totally impossible. And that's like going way back to the very lower level, but there's things like that are happening incrementally in our lives all the time, where we're like, if we're learning and growing, then we're gonna be doing some things that don't feel so good. So it's a sign that we're doing the right thing if it's a little uncomfortable.
I agree. We're experiencing a lot of that right now, aren't we, Ashlee? And it's a great thing, because we are intentionally growing. We're intentionally growing and changing, and so getting comfortable with being uncomfortable in this new phase. So, oh my gosh! Before I forget, Amber, you were recently offering, I think it was only through the end of September, a discount on a program or something. Is that something you're still offering? Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah. So what you're referring to is my new delegation course. It's called Fire Yourself, Delegate Your Way to Freedom and Success is the title of it. And the course is designed for a little bit like what I've talked about in regards to the book, in the sense that it's a lot of how do I identify what to delegate. I have exercises in there that will help you work through your own schedule and tasks to figure out what you should be delegating, or what are ideal tasks for a VA, how to communicate your expectations, how to give feedback, especially critical feedback, because I know there are a lot of leaders that get really uncomfortable and just shut down when they don't like something, and then they go do it themselves, and the VA never knows that they were unhappy with that work. So helping leaders actually learn how to do that. So I can give you a link for that course, so that if it's something you put in show notes or whatever. But I was offering a 50% discount through September 30th, but I'd be happy to offer a 50% discount to your listeners too. So I'll put together a promo code that I can share, since we're past the early bird date.
That's awesome. Thank you. And would you just kind of blurt out your URL right now for Trusty Oak?
Yes, so it's just trustyoak.com. The course itself is on a different platform, so it's a little bit too long for me to spell it out. But
no, that's all right. We'll find a way to publish that, but I wanted you to have a chance for people to find you and see who you are and what you do. Okay, so we're going to flip the switch a little bit, unless there's one last question or comment either of you wants to make before we flip the switch to a little bit more casual conversation.
No, this has all been fun to talk about. I'm nerdy.
I know,
like
it's
that.
all so good. So good. So good. Just meaty. So it's funny because I had something in the back of my mind today, and I was like, oh, it would be funny to talk about it if it fit in. And then there's just little things that you kept saying. Ashlee mentioned dreams, and you just mentioned back when you were learning to read, and you know how simple that is now. And I was just having these, I don't dream. Well, I'm not aware that I dream very often.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know. I think it's kind of weird that I rarely remember dreaming. A lot of people remember dreams all the time, right? Not only do they know they dreamed, but they know what they dreamed. And I rarely ever do. But occasionally I will remember that I was dreaming. And actually this morning I remembered dreaming a little bit, and I even remember what it was about. But really, the point about it is just kind of being in that altered state of reality. I mean, don't you ever have a dream that it was so real that you could swear that it happened, like it's a part of your experience? You experienced it fully in adrenaline, and your body systems, your physiology was engaged, and it was like reality. Is that happen to y'all?
That one's a little more rare for me. I've definitely had vivid dreams that feel like they mean something, but less about like waking up and going, oh my gosh, did that really happen, or was it a dream? But I don't know. What about you, Ashlee?
Yeah, I've had a little bit of both. I mean, it is interesting because there's times that I will sleep and not remember dreaming, and then I'll go for weeks where I wake up and I'm like, what does that mean? Or did it really happen? Or what's going on? Why am I dreaming?
Yeah.
And
right. I know, what is that? Why?
Right.
Where'd that come from?
Yeah, I'm
But
questioning
like
myself. Yes.
Yeah. But you experience it like it was real. Sometimes, or I have. And so and when you mentioned reading, Amber, it just made me chuckle, because this wasn't a dream. This actually, the scenario happened. So when I was in third grade, by the way, I excelled in reading from the beginning of time, at a very young age, and loved to read. My whole family loves to read. And we don't know how to use the library because my parents just had shelves and shelves and shelves of books, and new ones constantly coming in. And we were like the lending library for our friends. Cool. So I didn't know how to use the public library. So we loved to read. And I was in third grade, and it was a Sunday morning waiting to go to church. And I was crying, and my sister, when I have two older sisters, one came in and, asked me why I was crying and what was wrong. And I was really crying because I can remember very vividly how distraught. I don't even know how to describe how I felt. It was devastating. I told her I forgot how to read. And she said, what do you mean? How you forgot how? I said, I can't. Our dad was always, bivocational, 2 full-time careers all the time. And one of those was a minister. And often that meant preaching. And so we had, just hundreds of books, dozens, hundreds of books, Bibles on the shelf. And so every Sunday I would just go grab one off the shelf. And so I did that. And I had been sitting on the couch to read it, and I couldn't read a word of it. And I was in third grade. I was always an excellent, excelled at reading. And it was devastating. And so my sister, I tried to make her understand. Okay. Yeah. It was like, what's happening to me? Like, I'll never be able to read again. Well, guess what? The Bible was in Spanish.
Oh, no.
I thought you were going to say it was like a Hebrew Bible or something like that, with the Greek and Hebrew.
I guess before I was born, Daddy, he wasn't fluent in Spanish, but he went and would go to this mission church, and it was Spanish speaking. And so that was the Bible he used. I didn't know that.
Hilarious.
And was it real that I forgot how to read? No, but it was real it was the experience of that was real, of suddenly not being able to read. It was just like terrifying.
Yeah.
It was like, so that's what I mean. Like sometimes you just you experience something that's not really in your actual reality, but it was a reality for a moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah,
that
would scare me too.
My mom visited us way back when my kids were still little. My mom came to visit and stayed in my son's room. And she went, I had asked her the next morning how she slept. She goes, "Oh, terrible. I hardly slept at all." I said, "What happened?" She said, "Well, when I went to bed, I lay there, and you know those little plastic stars that'll glow in the dark, and you can stick them to the ceiling or the ceiling fan or whatever." She's like, they were glowing, and she was like, "I'm never going to go to sleep." And then she apparently fell asleep, and then in the middle, and we lived way out in the country, so there was not a lot of ambient light coming in the windows or anything. It was very dark at night. And so she woke up in the middle of the night, and she didn't see those stars. She didn't see anything. It was pitch black. And she apparently just lay in bed the rest of the night, terrified that she was blind.
That's
horrible.
So yeah, because the stars.
It's horrible, but I laugh because I can relate to it. I was like, "Oh my gosh, Mom, I'm so sorry." I felt so bad because I know how horrible that feels. Like you're just going, "Oh my gosh, I'm never going to see her. I'm never going to read. I'm never." And she, for a little while, that was her reality. She was blind. It was just that the stars had stopped glowing. Have y'all ever had anything that was, any similar happen?
Oh my goodness.
I don't think I have, which I guess is fortunate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe in a milder way. Maybe you experience like deja vu, and it's like, did I just experience deja vu, like a real thing that had happened before, or was it a dream now or before? Like, I don't know. I'm what do you think about that?
I've had some deja vu moments. They always just entertain me, and then I think about the Matrix, the movie The Matrix. Like, there's a glitch in the Matrix when you see the deja vu thing happen. So.
Yeah. So nowadays we have a little better explanation, right? And something to relate it to, perhaps.
Yeah.
Then we did it.
Yeah, because there's not a real good explanation for why it happens. I don't know. It is a weird phenomenon. Brains.
That was kind of my topic of interest today. I just thought that's just so, all that came to mind, and all because I remembered a dream and it felt like it really happened, but it didn't. And, and then all those things came to mind. So the mind is an amazing thing, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah.
And it speaks to us, our being able to create our own reality. I mean, even if it's just for a moment, right? Because if your body is if you fully believe something is real, I mean, everything within you and around you responds to that. So, that's the power of it, actually, is that we really do create you created your reality. Amber became a business owner, and not just a business owner, but a recognized, awarded business woman of the year in Austin, Texas. That's no small thing. That's huge. I mean, right? Awesome. I'm so excited about that. Yes, my friend Amber. She's the businesswoman of the year in Austin. Yes, that's my friend.
It was very surprising to me, because also I didn't even know I'd been nominated until I just got an email that said, "You've been nominated for," and I didn't know who did it for a while. Like, I eventually figured out that it was a friend of mine, but I was just in shock. And then, it's a voting situation. So like, okay, well, I guess I'll make a video and put it on social media and ask people if they think I deserve it to vote for me. And fortunately, a lot of people thought that was a good idea. So
that's I didn't know that's how that worked. I love that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Austin Businesswoman is a wonderful organization too. I'll just take a minute to give them a quick plug. So for women leaders in Austin, Olga, that runs Austin Businesswoman, is just fantastic. And she has helped with facilitating numerous connections, speaking opportunities, just resources, you name it. Really amazing what they're doing for the Austin women community here.
It's fantastic. Oh, love it. Oh, Amber, I've loved having you here so much. Ashlee, any last curiosity questions?
Oh, I can't think of any right now, but I'm sure they'll come after we're done for the day. But
Of course,
but
absolutely.
of course, yeah.
Well,
So,
you guys know what I'm about to say. It's that time again. Thank you, Amber. And thank you, viewers, for being with us today for the CA Short Company All In Employee Podcast. It's been fun, it's been informative, and it's been engaging. Remember, you're either all in or you're all out. See you next time.